Consumer sentiment is sinking like a stone. The last time Americans felt this gloomy about the economy's prospects was during the financial crisis. You can't blame consumers for how they feel, considering the prices they pay when they pull up to the pump or checking out at the supermarket. Never mind the political blame game we hear every day about inflation. Combine that with the war in Ukraine, baby formula shortages, and CEOs one after another warning us to brace for an economic storm. How can you not feel bad as a consumer? The economy can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. When we feel things are going in a bad direction, we tend to spend less, which can lower GDP and lead to a whole slew of other problems, pushing the economy into a bad direction. The University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Index measures consumers' confidence in their own financial prospects and the economy. Index numbers for May were a feeble 58.4. That's just 6.7 points above the all-time index low of 51.7 in 1980 during the Great Inflation. Inflation is again being blamed for consumer pessimism. In the assessment of the survey director, this recent drop was largely driven by continued negative views on current buying conditions for houses and durables, as well as consumers' future outlook for the economy, primarily due to concerns over inflation. We work, we earn, and we like to save. When we're not able to save, we don't feel as good. The Commerce Department tells us that the personal savings rate fell to 4.4% in April. That's the lowest level since 2008, the height of the financial crisis. Experts say inflation is a big reason why Americans are burning through their savings right now. Economic strategist Mitch Rochelle says high inflation eventually leads to demand destruction when people stop buying altogether. But in the period before demand destruction, Rochelle says the first thing that happens is people start dipping into savings because they're not willing to slow down consumption. Inflation is also being held responsible for the recent and substantial increase in consumer debt. No one feels good when they have to spend their savings and take on debt to cover the cost of rising inflation. In March, consumer debt jumped by $52.4 billion. Consumer debt hasn't climbed that much in a 12-month period since December 2010. And revolving credit rose more than 35% year over year in March. The best known type of revolving credit is credit cards. Experts are pointing to inflation for this increase in revolving credit. According to the chief economist of the National Association of Federally Insured Credit Unions, the March spike likely reflects the recent surge in inflation, particularly in gas prices. That is taking a toll on household finances. The current consumer sentiment, the decrease in savings rate, and the increase in consumer debt are all at the same levels they were during the financial crisis. What's the result of all this data? Americans are feeling pretty bad about the economy. Unfortunately, how we feel might be the final nail in the coffin, sending us into another recession. you worked for and earned your retirement savings? That's why I suggest you start thinking about ways to strengthen your own finances. To start, sign up for our unique one-on-one gold and silver web conference at augustapreciousmetals.com/webconference.
Hey guys, Joe Montana here with my man Devlyn Steele. He and his team at Augusta Precious Metals are constantly putting out new information to keep you ahead of the game. Click subscribe now and hit the notification bell to stay up to date. You'll be glad you did.